What's up, everybody? Welcome to Thunder Sports Pod, and we got a special guest today.
What
It
up?
is
I'm Spencer. Big
JT
Steelers
Thunder.
fan, so there's gonna be some homer picks throughout the thing, but whatever, don't care.
Oh yeah,
My
we'll have to.
opinions.
Yeah, and then we got JT Thunder, and
The stash, baby. We back at it again.
oh yeah, so big upset. Sean Strickland over Izzy. What is your
Oh,
thoughts? What is your thoughts, everybody? Big upset.
Oh,
We'll start with the stash first.
I was hyped. So I've been talking about this upcoming to the fight the entire time. I've been telling my buddies, I think Izzy will win, but I want Strickland to win so bad. I just want.
Mhm.
I kept telling him third round, 10 grand on it. Third round, he takes him. He didn't take him in the third, but he definitely got him in the fifth. It went to decision, but I was so impressed with him. That was the most focused I've ever seen him in a fight. He looked amazing.
For his age, he was like extremely focused and determined to take him down. It was crazy. But what's your thoughts on it, Spencer?
I caught like the last 3 rounds of the fight. I tuned in a
Yeah,
little late. I was playing a little CS2 game, but
there you go.
it was a decent fight. I thought there. I mean, I think Strickland pretty much overruled the entire fight. Adesanya had
Hmm.
a couple of good licks. He seemed like he could only throw leg kicks. I don't know what was going on, but he seemed like he
Yeah,
was just backing up the entire fight and went to decision. Strickland won. If he didn't win, it was just highway robbery.
exactly. I don't know why Izzy. It didn't seem like he was the aggressor at all throughout the fight. He just seemed more laid
He's just
back
scared.
and yeah, exactly. So,
He was very
yeah,
defensive on it.
hmm
That's all he's focused on the whole fight was just defense. I know Strickland. I mean Strickland probably scared him a little bit in that first round near the end where he took him down. It may have been that, but he was on the defense ever since then.
pretty crazy. So, UFC world is definitely shocked about that. Social media going crazy, but we'll go ahead and dive into college football news. Caleb Williams is rumored to stay another year at USC. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think he declares after this coming season, or do you think he stays? My personal opinion, I think he stays another year because he sees Arizona and he didn't want to go to that dumpster fire.
Oh come
The
on, man.
rule,
Cardinals ain't
yeah.
that bad. They were good like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that is true. Man, they've been going downhill though pretty quick. So, what's your thoughts on it, Spencer? Do you think
So
he'll
I
declare?
don't watch college football a ton, but I did a little research on this, and I mean it's just based on the situation really, because the past drafts have shown that it's not how soon you're drafted, it's where you're drafted that makes the biggest difference.
Hmm.
Look at Patrick Mahomes, didn't go first. Obviously, he should have looking back, but he got lucky and went to Kansas City. So it just
That's
depends
very
on who the
true.
worst teams are, and I mean the Cardinals are going to be up there for sure, and I don't blame him if he wouldn't want to go there, but we'll just have to see who the bad teams are at the end of the season really, or how it's shaping up to be.
And honestly, Kyler Murray's big contract has a lot to do with that because they may try to ship him, but no team's going to want that huge
Yeah, that was a
contract cap
mistake.
hit. So they're stuck with Kyler probably, honestly, for the next 2 to 3 years at least. So they might have to look at a different position to draft number one overall, or if they get the number one pick, try to ship it off to a different team and get some kind of like what the Bears did and just kind of rehaul assets. So
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on it, Stash?
My thoughts on Caleb Williams staying. I mean, it's technically his choice. I
Mm,
mean, he could always do the Eli Manning route if he actually got drafted. Say, I don't want to play for them, so you can trade me,
yeah,
and
that would cause a lot of drama
it
for
would.
sure.
I mean, it
Good for
does.
Eli, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's technically it's his choice. He's a junior. He can leave and get into the draft, or he could stay. It's up to him. Trying to pick where you go. I mean, that's a little interesting take, but I would think that he. You got to think about the teams who are going to be bad this year. They off the top of your head, most of the teams have a quarterback. Arizona don't. They're not going to trust Kyler Murray anymore. So that's the only option. Even if he doesn't go this round, if Arizona doesn't get better, they're still going to take another quarterback. Or if he
Mm,
does decides not to wait, they'll do it again.
that's true. I think it's really dependent on USC's success this year, honestly, too, because he wants to win the national championship. So if they don't win it, he could possibly come back for another year. But if he wins the Heisman again this year, I say he's gone because a back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner, that would be crazy. So I think his
I mean, he'd
value would
easily go
be,
number one then, right?
oh, no doubt. His value as a quarterback would be through the roof, as it is already. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment, NFL talk. So Who will be the first team to win their first championship as a franchise? Detroit, the Jaguars, the Bills, Bengals, or Vikings? Stash, we'll start with you. What is your team? Who do you think will win their first ring?
So you just want one team. I went into depth on
Yeah.
this and like talked about like how which
Same.
teams have the best shot at winning
Mhm.
it. But I
Well, you
was
can go ahead and do that.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So my first team. So I think the Jags have a high chance in a few years. Not this year,
Hmm.
but I think they're just missing a few things that would really just sit them over the edge. I think Trevor Lawrence made a big jump last year. I think he's going to transition into this year and into another jump where he is. You could start looking at Trevor Lawrence for that third spot in QBs in the league. I think Ridley's going to be a massive help this year to him and his stats and people looking at him like he is an elite QB. I personally do not think the Bills will win a Super Bowl anytime soon. I
Me
think
neither.
I think they're just I think they missed their window of opportunity to go, and it's not their fault necessarily. The AFC is so stacked that it's really hard. Like even getting a wild card spot is hard.
Yeah.
It is.
The Bengals though, the Bengals I think have the best shot out of all these teams. I think they.
Mm.
I know, but they do. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, not gonna be T Higgins. I think that might hurt them in the long run if they don't keep him. But for the most part, I think the Bengals have the best chance out of any of the teams. I'm gonna talk about the Vikings now. I'm sorry, Jared, for what I'm about to say. I think this year will be a little less than last year. I think that the defense is going to have issues. I think the DBs are going to be the biggest part that is going to hurt their team. Like the people are just going to sling it,
Mhm.
and they know that. So I think that the offense will be fine. I think you'll still do a lot of run plays, and I think they'll still be able to have a run game even without Dalvin. And of course they've got Jay Jetta. Um, Adam Thielen, I understand with the loss, like he is aging and he's not going to be the same quarterback or not wide receiver that he was.
Mhm.
So I understand, but it's going to be they're going to need some help if they especially on the defensive side. Like if this year I would focus highly on the DBs and you've got a great free safety in Harrison. So like he's great, but he
Yeah.
can't cover everyone. So
Exactly. That's true. I think the offense will be fine. I mean, they drafted Jordan Addison, the rookie. They got T.J. Hawkinson. Defense will be questionable, even though they got Brian Flores as the DC. We'll see if they come up with some interesting packages on defense to help slow down some offenses. But and anything is better than what last year was for the defense. That's all I'm gonna say.
and I think the Lions do have a good shot. They are surprised. I think this year they put the league on notice.
They
Like
look good.
especially they did, and I
Mhm.
think they looked even a little rusty, and they were still able to come out there and compete. Jamar Gibbs looked incredible, even only with 7 touches. He looked great. Um, I think Jared Goff is going to have a great year. I'm predicting. I think he'll have probably about 28 touchdowns, maybe 4 picks, and probably about close to about 4,000 yards this year. I think they are, and St. Brown's going to be played well. I think they have the best
Mhm.
shot, and that defense looked incredible against Patty. Even though Kelsey was out, you have some wide receivers who should be making plays. So I just think that their defense is going to be a big help, and the split backs is going to save both their running backs for the season.
I can do
I
that.
hated what that coach said, or the commentator said after the game. Like, there's an asterisk on this
Mm.
game
Yeah.
because they didn't have Kelsey. Like, whatever, man. No one says that stuff at the end of a seasons when everyone's injured to
Exactly.
win.
That's the truth.
Injuries are a part of the game. We all know that. It sucks,
Unfortunately, yeah.
but it is.
Mhm.
So you can say put a asterisk by it if you want, but it's still in the record books as a loss.
Exactly. So, what's your thoughts on the situation, Spencer? Which team
All
do you
right.
think will win the first?
So might be a hot take. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with who I'm gonna pick here. I
Yeah.
think Jacksonville is gonna win it in between
Ooh.
those teams soon enough. Because
Okay.
they are in the weakest division, like by a good bit, I think. And then, like
Mhm.
the stash was saying, Trevor Lawrence performed really well last season, and I think he's just gonna get better this season.
Mhm.
And they honestly have a chance to be in the top 10 pass rushing defenses this year. They have a really good front or starting line there, and I think that'll be a big help to them winning that division. And I don't think Titans are going to challenge them for that spot, and they're easily going to get in the playoffs, in my opinion. So, and they showed that they can perform in the playoffs last year too.
Exactly. Coming back from behind against the Chargers. Uh, that's a very very good pick.
But also, I wrote some things about the other teams here. Let's see. Yeah, Detroit. So I think Detroit. Obviously, we talked about them just a second ago. They look really, really good. I think their QB is good enough. Jared Goff. I don't believe in him incredibly well, but I
Mhm.
think he can perform enough to. They have a good surrounding cast over there. And
Oh,
the biggest thing is their electric head coach, Dan Campbell. Everybody loves that guy. He makes everyone
yeah.
want to run through a brick wall.
Mhm.
I think even without Kadarius Toney dropping 40 passes last night or on Thursday, that they still find a way to win that game. Dan Campbell has something about him that he's kind of like Mike Tomlin. He's just a player's guy. He gets
Mhm.
everybody, he motivates everybody. I think they have a really good chance to win soon, but I don't know. Jacksonville, I think they look better.
Fake
Weaker
punt,
division.
baby. Fake punt on your fourth down opening drive.
Nuts in a wheelbarrow. That dude has crazy cojones on him for going for that. Inside their own red zone. That is insane.
That is pretty wild. I like those picks from both of y'all. I think the Jaguars have a great chance at winning their first championship over pretty much everybody. I think Detroit and Cincinnati both have a high chance at it. Buffalo, Minnesota, unfortunately, I think the window is closing extremely fast for
Yeah.
Buffalo, especially Minnesota. I think will have at least 2 more years. I think after that, it'll be closing rapidly. But for Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and Detroit, their future is bright, extremely bright. They've got young quarterbacks, good head coaches, so I like those selections. If I had to choose one, I'd probably say I'd probably lean towards Jacksonville, like Spencer was saying. I like the
Yeah.
team. I like how the transition of how bad Trevor was in his rookie season to year two. It's
Yeah.
only going to improve this year. So, I
That shows
mean,
that coaching is a huge factor in how good a player
exactly.
develops and plays.
For sure. Doug Peterson changed that culture around in Jacksonville for sure. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. So, who is better currently, Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry? I'd like to hear Spencer's thoughts first.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I got to go with Nick Chubb. He's a Browns player. Don't like the Browns, but he is better than Derrick Henry, in my opinion. I think Nick Chubb, they have a better O line on that team, I'm pretty sure. And I think even with Deshaun Watson playing terribly last year, he'll play better this year, which will take some of the load off of Chubb.
Mhm.
And he doesn't have to carry the offense in Cleveland as much as Derrick Henry does in Tennessee. And Derrick Henry's older. I'm pretty sure Derrick Henry had an injury last year. I don't think it wasn't serious, but he did have to sit out a few games.
Mhm.
And that the workload on the NFL, especially as a running back, you're taking hits like, every time you touch the ball. It just adds up and adds up. And like Stash was saying, injuries are part of the game. That's just how it goes. And if you're injured, you're not playing, you're not getting stats, you're not the better player.
Exactly. That's the truth. What's your thoughts and opinions on that, Stash?
I'm actually in agreement with him on it. I think Nick Chubb is actually the best running back in football right now.
Mhm.
I think that Derrick Henry is getting older. I think that he has sustained a lot of work. He was a workhorse for a lot of years, and I'm not saying that he should hang it up. I'm not saying that in the slightest, but like he is getting older and he's getting tired, and it's not they can't rely on him to carry the offense like they once did. So I think that's it. I don't even have honestly I don't even have Derrick Henry in the top three best running backs, and maybe top five if I really thought about it.
Mm.
I think at
Interesting.
full health, he's
Interesting.
still top three, but that's just a big if.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, availability is your best ability in the NFL.
Yep.
So I think personally it's Nick Chubb slightly. I think if you asked me 3 years ago, I'm taking Derrick Henry all day.
Of course.
He was easily the best running back, King Henry, but now I think he's being dethroned by Nick Chubb. And especially losing Kareem Hunt in Cleveland, he's the lead back. So he's going to get even better this year. I feel like on the ground, at least in the numbers. So we'll see if Nick Chubb can have a great year in Cleveland, but I would give the edge to Chubb over Henry. But I think Derrick Henry is still a top three running back in my opinion. I think it's Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, and then Derrick Henry in my opinion for that order.
If
But
Tennessee just had a little bit better QB play, in my opinion, they would be so much
mhm,
better. It sucks for them that Derrick Henry has to be their whole offense almost all the time.
exactly. And if Derrick Henry is not able to, kind of duplicate previous season's production, age, injuries, how will Tennessee respond? Because they are so dependent on Derrick Henry. That's a huge question. They've got DeAndre Hopkins, but he's aging too. So I mean, that's the only weapon outside of Henry they really have.
Well, we kind of saw what happened last year, right? He missed. I think he played 9 games last year. And
Hmm.
did Tennessee even make playoffs?
They lost every game after that, and they missed
Yeah,
the playoffs. They had like a 5-game lead over Jacksonville, and they lost it.
yeah.
So
That
that
was a good
just
look for
shows,
Tennessee, but
yeah, that just shows the importance that Henry has on that team, I guess. But so next topic we'll move on to, who will have the better upcoming season? The LA Chargers or the New York Football Giants?
this one was hard, dude.
I don't
We'll
even
go
know.
ahead and start with you, Spencer. Who do you pick, and what's your thoughts towards it?
So I didn't really know where to go with this one, but I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers. I just
Hmm.
think they have a better QB, obviously, and decent weapons, and I think they'll be really determined this season after losing that huge playoff game last year when they had a 20-point lead going into halftime. That's just not supposed to happen, and I'm sure they heard it by the coach, and I think they'll come out and play a lot harder this year. I love the Giants head coach. He's just awesome. He looks like a big meatball, but I think they're just a weaker team. They could honestly miss the playoffs this year because they're in the same conference as or same division as Eagles and Cowboys. And I think they're both going to be pretty decent this year, especially the
Mm.
Eagles. So I don't know, but I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers.
That's a good take. So, wait and hear the Stash's opinion towards the Giants or the Chargers. Let's see. Who do you have? I think I already know this answer.
So this is actually really tough because there's a lot of factors that I took into consideration about this. Was okay. I would like if I'm just comparing the teams, I'm like I'd probably go with the Chargers. I think they got the better team all around. There's better defense. I think that I not to mock the Giants though, but it's more also that I have to take into consideration. NFC's kind of just top heavy. You can get a playoff spot. They
Yeah,
could like and then you just gotta win 2 games. You know what I mean? Make a Super Bowl. So like I think they have a better shot at a Super Bowl than the Chargers do. But it's
Hmm.
because of that Chargers in the AFC. They're like it's so hard to get a playoff spot. Like they don't win their division, but I mean it sucks for them because they play Kansas City twice a year. So
the Giants have made some miracle runs in the past.
mhm.
That's the truth. Yeah.
So I would have to go with I think the Giants have a better shot than the Chargers.
Hmm. Interesting. So I've got the tiebreaker here. Giants or Chargers? Interesting. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give the edge to the Chargers slightly, and hear my reasoning. So the Chargers, I feel like have the better overall offensive team. I mean, defensive wise, you could maybe say Giants, but on paper, the Chargers look pretty good, getting key injuries back, some players that they didn't have last year. Austin Eckler's a touchdown machine, so I haven't looked at either. Their schedules I haven't looked at yet, but I'm gonna lean towards the Chargers because I think that Justin Herbert I can trust more than Daniel Jones when it comes down to it. Um,
They're
but
getting
like you
Keenan Allen
said,
back this year, right?
do what?
They're getting Keenan Allen back this year
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they're getting Allen back, and they drafted a rookie from TCU, Quentin Johnston, as another receiver. So they've got playmakers up there.
Yep.
But I mean, AFC, like you said, Stash, it's very competitive, and it's gonna be hard to make a playoff spot. But I think the AFC West is not as competitive as the NFC East will be this year. So that's my opinion towards that and my reasoning.
I
So
agree.
I think that the Raiders are going to be bottom feeders. I don't think they'll win like 5 games, 5, 6 games max. You've got the Broncos that'll probably improve this year under Sean Payton, but they won't make the playoffs most likely. You've got the Chiefs and the Chargers, and then for the NFC East, you got Dallas, Philly. The Giants could push for a playoff berth, and the Commanders got a crazy front seven.
I think they could be a
So
sleeper team this year, to be
they
honest.
could, they really could.
Who?
Um, who
The
knows what
Commanders.
that can.
Commanders? Ooh, I like
So.
that take. Future MVP Sam Howell.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've got a great coach up there, and they've got some playmakers and Scary Terry. So, I mean,
Yeah, he's
we'll
playing for me
see what.
tomorrow. He better play. He better play. I'm glad I put
Yeah.
him in instead of Sky Moore.
Oh man, fantasy starting already. But
I got their running. I think I'm gonna put Antonio Gibson in for my fantasy, even though he's like their backup and on the Commanders. I
yeah,
don't know. I had Ramon Stevenson for the Patriots in.
mhm.
He's questionable with the illness Friday, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to wake up early tomorrow and look at the report and see what's happening. But
Have to check it out and make sure you get your best players in. So we'll move on to blind ranking all time game for quarterbacks. Both of y'all can answer on this one. 1 through 5, you gotta rank these guys. So first off, we've got Steve Young, and you have to agree which position you put him
oh no,
Oh, this makes it harder.
in.
Like, so Me personally, I think Steve Young was fantastic, but like I wouldn't put
Yeah.
Steve as a top 5 quarterback all time. Um, Probably top 10, maybe top 15. I would probably put him at 5 personally. I think there's a lot of guys
Ooh.
that are better. But if you want to
So
play it
are the
safe,
QBs you're gonna name all gonna come from the top 10 list,
I don't
or
know.
like are they all
These are the
just
quarterbacks
random?
all time. They can be current,
Okay,
past,
okay.
So
Oh, it's both. I would put him at 3 then.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.
3. Okay, we're in agreement. 3.
Leave a little room on both
I,
sides.
hey, I never said I may have current, may have past. You never know. Any quarterback all time. So you got him
Okay.
at number 3. So next up on the list we have Brett Favre.
Two.
I personally think Brett Favre is better than Steve Young,
All
but
right, so you
that's me.
I'd put him at 2.
A 2? Okay, I'm fine with that. Brett Favre at 2.
Brett at 2. Okay, you got Brett at 2, Steve Young at 3. Next on the list we have Eli Manning.
I'll put Eli
I'd put
below
him at
4.
I'd put him at 5, honestly.
Well, I'll agree with that. Put him at 5.
Maybe I have
5,
some
okay.
recency bias from where he just started kind of shitting the
Okay.
bed towards the end of the years,
Yeah, he was
but
awful.
Yeah.
Ever since that boat photo of the Giants,
Yeah.
it was all downhill. It was cursed image.
All right, so you've got 1 and 4 left. You've got Brett Favre at 2, Steve Young at 3, and
this
Eli
could go very wrong.
at 5. Next on the list, you have Warren Moon.
I put him at
I
4.
mean, yeah, definitely not 1, I don't
No,
think.
I wouldn't put him at 1. I put him at 4.
Okay, so are you ready for your number one
It's
spot?
not Kirk Cousins, is it?
Yeah,
It's Kirk
it's
Cousins.
gonna be Mark
Nope.
Sanchez.
Oh, is it Rex Grossman?
It is the Miami man himself, Dan Marino.
I like that
Okay,
list. I think that list is fine.
Okay,
I
so
have no
I'd
issue with
probably
that
put
list.
that list the same way together, just if I knew all of them.
Yeah, I would
let
have
us
put
know
him.
down. Yeah, let us know down in the comments. Did we have a perfect list? We got Dan Marino, and then we have Brett Favre at 2, Steve Young at 3, Warren Moon at 5 or 4, excuse me, and Eli Manning at last at
Yeah,
5th place.
I'm fine with that.
Solid list.
That's flawless.
There we go. I
All right,
like the
high
list,
five.
guys. I think you guys nailed it. So high five to you guys. There you go. Good job. Good job. We'll move on to the next segment. All right. So will Bijan Robinson have a Saquon Barkley like year 1 in the league?
You can go first with this mustache.
All right. I don't think so.
Mm,
Really?
I mean, Saquon had 1,300 yards on 11 tutties his rookie year.
mm,
That's not something that just like not even most running backs do. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's
pretty
not
rare.
it's not easy to do that. And Andy's gonna be splitting like 50-50 with Cordell Patterson and the other guy they got too. Like, you got to take into
mm.
consideration he's gonna be splitting the ball a lot. I don't see him having that kind of rookie year with splitting the ball as much as he will be. I'm thinking more of like a 700-yard season and 4 touchdowns up for him actually.
Ooh, lowballing a little bit. I respect the opinion.
I mean, it's not
I
a
mean, I
terrible
mean,
year for like any other running back, but he does
yeah,
have a
that's
lot of hype
yeah, that's
around him.
true. I mean, there's high expectations in Atlanta for him.
I have
Yeah.
to see it. Like everyone's talked about, but you know who else they hyped up that went to Atlanta? Kyle Pitts, and I still ain't seen any stats that like really impressed me yet. So
Very
like
true. Very
that's just
true.
more my issue with it. And I'm a Gators fan. I was hoping he would be great.
hmm
He's
I
good for the
think
program.
Atlanta they've got to figure out their quarterback situation. So,
Yeah, I think that's actually a good thing for Robinson
Yeah.
though, for
yeah,
right now.
I agree. What's your thoughts on it, Spencer?
I think he'll come either close or he will have a little bit better year than Saquon. I think he's just as good physically as Saquon is, and he's in a great situation in Atlanta, like we were talking about, where they don't have they have a pretty bad QB down there, and their
Mm,
offense isn't great. So I think he's gonna kind of be almost Derrick Henry-esque in the way their
mm.
offense runs through him. So I think he'll definitely run up the stats, and I think he'll just be. Oh, also they had a what's his name, Algier.
I think it's
Taylor
a,
Algier? Yeah,
yeah.
They had him last year, and he ran for over 1,000 yards. And I think
exactly.
Bajan's better than he will be for sure.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
Bajan is going to have better receiving game than Algier.
hmm
That's fair.
And that's
So he
what
might
I
not
could
get
use.
1,300 rushing, but he'll be better
Yeah.
receiver.
They could use him in a variety of ways. I think Cordell Patterson could be used out of the backfield in the passing attack some. But I think it's going to be the Bijan show in Atlanta early on. And I would agree with you, Spencer, on that. I think that they're going to lean on him heavy this year. He's going to be their workhorse. And I could see him having better statistics than Saquon did whenever he had his rookie year. So, but I like both sides of the
Mm-hmm.
of the argument right there. That's pretty
I can
interesting.
see it going either way.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
of course. Like I like if he like that's me for me. It's just I gotta see it. Like if he does great, and like then I'll admit I was wrong on it. It's
Hmm.
just one of those things. Like I was like, I did that with a guy that played for like Tampa with Vita Vea. I thought Vita Vea was a bust after the first year, and he's really shocked me. And I regret it.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, man, I was completely wrong about this guy.
I mean, I'm standing behind this just purely for the fact that Bijan Robinson is the best running back prospect I've seen probably since Saquon. So that's the reasoning behind it for me. But I like both, both sides of the
Who
argument.
was he picked in the draft? Bajan?
He was top 10. I believe
Was
he
it
was
6, 5, something
it
like that?
was 5 through 6, I
Oh, okay.
wonder. Yeah,
I
it was a high
didn't care
pick.
too much this year.
It was a top 10 pick lock, so high expectations in Atlanta. But I think he'll produce. Even though it's in a crowded backfield, I think week 1 and 2, he might split more carries than people will imagine. Just kind of getting acclimated to the game. Kind of like what Jahmyr Gibbs did in
Yeah,
Detroit.
I was about to say.
Um,
That's good.
It's
That's a good
similar to that
but
reference.
situation.
but just getting that system, getting that knowledge, getting the feel for the game early. I think he'll be just fine for the regular season though. But interesting next topic. We'll move on. Which wide receivers in the NFL are the top 5 best route runners in the league currently? So we'll go ahead and start with Spencer here. We'll go ahead.
I got through a little hot take in here, but the rest of them
Okay.
I think are pretty solid.
Mine
So
are
number
mine's
one,
mine's a little off too, but some people might hate me for mine. I was telling him earlier about it.
number one, I got Justin Jefferson. Obviously,
Mm,
I don't think anybody's debating that. He's just pretty much top wide receiver in the league right now.
mm,
The number two, I got Cooper Cup. I think he dealt with some injury stuff last year, but I think when he's healthy, he's still one of the top route runners in the league. We saw what he did that Super Bowl year. He
mhm.
had an incredible year that year. The number three, the hot take here, okay? So
Yeah.
if you watch the Steelers games, you will know Deontay Johnson is an amazing route runner, especially on the curls, the cutbacks. He's just all around a great player. He had 0 touchdowns last year, but that was bullshit. I think like 4 touchdowns were called back on penalty, man. It was baloney, dude. This
Mm,
year, I think he'll be a lot better, at least on stats. But he's always been a really good route runner.
mm.
Then I got number four, Travis Kelsey. Might be a little bit of a hot take, putting the tight end in the top five.
I
But I
like
think
it
I like
he's
it.
one of the best route running tight ends of all time, in my opinion.
for sure.
He's coming out to be. You could honestly debate him as the GOAT tight end. So
Oh, yeah,
I think he's up there for sure.
I
And number
agree.
five, old reliable Devontae Adams.
There
You
you
can
go.
always count on him to run good routes and get open. I think
Exactly.
he helps that Raiders team a lot.
Indeed, that's an interesting list. I like it. Uh, Stash, what is your list looking like, man?
So I got Jetta at 1 because, like you said, he's probably the best wide receiver in the league. Really,
Hmm.
no
Yeah.
like no debate on it. Number 2, I actually have Cooper Cup when he's healthy.
Mm,
Okay.
I got Jamar Chase at 3.
All right.
okay,
I got
interesting.
I got D Adams.
Nice, nice.
And the other one, yeah, I'm going to get some hate for, but I got Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is an excellent
Ooh,
route runner, and they're going to be using him even more for it this year. And he looks
We
better at.
both got some homer picks in there, huh?
I mean, yeah, like it's just going to be some biasism, but like
Yeah.
I like before he even got hurt, when he had that 104 yard, 404 yard, 104. Let me speak. Damn, I can't even talk. 104 receptions in a year. Like
yeah,
he was excellent on those slots, and I think that
mhm.
he and just routes in general. I think he's going to be excellent again this year.
I
I
like
don't hate
it.
that pick. I think he's underrated for sure.
He is. He's consistent. That's the main thing. So for me, we have completely different lists. It's going to be very
Yeah.
interesting. So number one, the best route runner in the NFL. It is not Justin Jefferson. He's the best. He's the best receiver. But the best route runner, it is Devontae Adams still. I feel like he's still got the
Mm.
most crisp routes in the league. He's very shifty, and I feel like it's going to be extremely, hard to guard him as a corner in the league. Number two, maybe a hot take for some people, but I think this man is still at the top 3 in route running in the league. It's Stephon Diggs at number 2.
I thought about
Uh,
putting him on mine.
yeah,
Yeah, I do too, actually.
number 3, very underrated. He's been hurt some of his early career in the NFL, but he is easily a top 3 route runner in the league, in my opinion. Jerry Jeudy is a top 3 route runner in the league. He may not be the best receiver, may not be a top 10 receiver, but his routes Dude, you gotta watch them. They're so amazing. They're
Well,
on
I'm gonna
point.
watch the Denver games, but if he's getting open, we can't catch the ball, or what's going
Yeah,
on? We
that is
just can't
true.
get it to him.
Thought you were gonna hit me
That
with
is
a
true. He
Kadarius
may not be able to
Toney.
catch the ball great, but he has crazy route running abilities. So
He got
he's got to
impressed
work
with
on them
Denver
hands.
games.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a good year though in Denver if he can stay healthy. That is,
Do
but
you, do you guys know if Kadarius Toney is a good route runner? I know he can't catch, but I was just curious if he could actually run routes.
he's
I mean,
shifty. He's quick. I don't think he's a great route runner. I think he's got good burst. That's about it though. So
I give him like a straight B
B?
yeah.
Okay.
on the route running.
I was just
Um,
curious.
so number four, I'm surprised you guys didn't have this man on your list. But number four, he solidified himself as a great route runner in his career. But you may not like this pick, Spencer, but Amari Cooper, dude. Amari Cooper. You gotta
I
think about
mean,
it. Dude, I mean, he's one of the greatest in the NFL at creating separation and getting open. Just the Godfather and just releases and forms that he's got. I mean, it's fundamentally sound. So I like him at four. And number five, you're thinking, oh, Jared, where's Justin Jefferson? I don't have him in my top five at all. What are you talking about? I've got Calvin.
man, come on.
No homer picks from me. Calvin Ridley for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was suspended for
Okay.
gambling, suspended last year, but he's back.
Baloney
Um,
suspension, by the way.
it was. So I think he's going to prove to a lot of people he's going to be a top 10 receiver this year. And he's still got elusive ability. He's got great speed, deception, really good route running skills. I think I'd give a slight edge over him over Justin Jefferson, but I think he's still a top five route runner in the league. So that's my.
He looked really, really good in training camp.
He did. He did. So that's my list. So let us know down below in the comments who had the best list, Spencer, JT, or the Stash.
That's me, baby.
So
That's me.
we'll go ahead and move on to a fun little game here. So try to guess Peyton Manning's top 10 touchdown pass catchers of all time.
Spencer, you want to rattle off the basic ones?
I figure we could just go back and forth.
Okay,
I'll
that
guess
works
one,
too.
You guess one.
Okay, that works.
Mhm.
First
Uh,
one I'm going with is Reggie Wayne.
Okay.
Be on there? Got to be on there, right?
Reggie Wayne is number 2.
Okay,
all
Marvin
time.
Harrison.
All right.
Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison is number 1 all
That's what I
time.
thought.
All right. Next, I'm gonna go with Dallas Clark.
It's another good one.
Dallas Clark is number 3 all time. Good pick.
Okay. Top
Um,
three.
Wes Welker.
Wes Welker, ooh, number 9 on the list.
Ooh, okay.
Squeezed in there.
Squeezed him in there.
Squeezed in there at the
I'm
bottom.
trying to think of some other guys.
Have we
You
said
got the-
Marcus Pollard?
Mm-mm.
Not on there.
What?
Okay,
Oh
hold on.
no.
Now
Is
I'm
it like a 3 strikes and you're out rule?
Mm, we'll do that. Yes,
we
we'll
should
give you
have that.
we'll give you 3 strikes per person. That's your first strike.
Oh, that's OP. We get 6.
Yeah, we can do this. We can figure this out. Okay, I'm trying to think of all the people they had. We named Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark.
Wes Welker, you got
Wes
you
Welker.
got 4.
Names.
Yeah,
You
I'm
got
trying to think.
4.
I'm trying to think of guys who are on Denver right now. Right now, I'm trying really hard to remember those guys' names.
You got the top 3 knocked out.
Who's a running back? I feel like the running back got some touchdown passes too.
I got one Denver guy.
Who?
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders.
Not on there.
A shot. All right, I suck at this.
2 X's for Spencer.
I'm running
Not
out of
looking
names.
good, man. You got to carry.
I don't know. I'm running out. I feel like I could have
You
named.
guessed the wrong Denver receiver.
Okay. Well, there I got one more then.
I don't even remember who was on Denver during that time. Period.
Whew. All right, do you want to give y'all a hint?
Sure.
Let me get the one more Denver guy. All right,
Sure.
this could be my last guess, but
Yeah.
Demarius Thomas, we said him,
Yes.
right? Or we didn't
Yes,
say him?
sir. He is number 4 all time.
Okay. Ooh,
Yeah.
still in
I
this.
think a lot of names, but
Trying to think of running backs. I'm trying to think of other wide receivers. I'm trying to think of the running back he had in Denver. I'm trying to think. I can see these guys. I can't see the back of their jerseys in my mind. What is your name? Oh, I don't know. I can't think of it anymore. I thought it was gonna be a little easier than I expected. I'm
Well,
already
you've
got
got
names.
one
Same.
through
I got 2
you've
X's,
got
man.
1 through 4 knocked out, and number 9. All right, I'll name through the ones you've got knocked out so far. You've got Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Demarius Thomas, and Wes Welker knocked out.
I'm trying to think.
You got 5 more.
Trying to think of anybody else. I'm trying to think of other wide receivers during that time that may have went there. For
Think of tight ends too.
who else he have besides Dallas Clark? I'm trying to think.
Denver.
Man, that was too long ago. I don't remember.
Bro, it's like no. Shannon Sharp played way before that, right?
He caught,
I think so.
I believe he caught Peyton Manning's 500th touchdown.
Oh,
His name ends with Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
No.
Worth a shot.
All right. You give up for this player.
Yeah, I give up. I can't
Alright,
think of
so-
anybody else.
Demarius Thomas. I don't know. We already said it.
Julius Thomas. Julius
Oh, I
Thomas
went
for
against that.
Denver. He was at number 6. All right, so you've got number 7, number 8, and number 10 left.
I don't
We
know.
should have went top 5 for this question.
Yeah, we should have done top 5. I think we could have got the top 5.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give you another hint. So 8 and 10 are both running backs he played with in Indianapolis.
So 2 running backs from Indy. I'm trying to think of the running backs in there. I remember one, like 32. He was a big boy. He used to run. I feel like it's number 32.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's all you, Stash.
Both in Indy. Melvin Ingram? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think it's Ingram or something. There's an,
It starts with an M for the 10th spot. You got the M. His first name starts with an M.
first name.
Damn, the first name.
Used to play with the Rams too.
What was it? Rams?
I'm so bad with player names.
I'm too. Like, especially like
All
that
right.
time period.
I'll give you this player at number 10, Marshall Faulk.
Oh!
I could like see a picture of him in my head.
Yes!
Like, his name.
I couldn't remember I was like picturing him. I just
Yeah.
couldn't think of the back of his jersey.
Oh
I
man.
was thinking like
So-
MF in my head. I was like, who is MF initially? And I just couldn't remember.
All right, so I'll give you number 7 as well. I don't think you will guess this guy, but Brandon Stokely.
No. I
And
think it's-
number 8 is
I don't know
also
who that is,
another.
to be honest.
Number 8 is Edgren James, another Colts running back.
That's
Oh my
James. James is the one I was thinking
Yep.
of.
So
Damn.
let us know in the comments. Did them boys do a good job?
we sucked.
Was you pleased with
50%.
the?
We got a 50.
Hey, there we go. So we'll move on to another game. Guess that NFL player game
Okay.
edition. So maybe you can get a little bit of a redemption here.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hey, we still had that
So-
flawless list. Don't forget. We had the flawless.
True.
All right. So this quarterback was drafted in 2014 in the NFC.
Man, another
Wait, what?
question from that time period.
He was drafted in 2014
Okay.
in the NFC. He had a major injury that made him become a backup in the NFL. That's the only hints I'm giving you so far.
Drafted in 2014.
2014 NFC team.
Had an injury, became a backup.
Major injury. Had a 2015 Pro Bowl appearance.
Is this James
College.
Winston?
I'll give you the college. College was Louisville.
Oh, Louisville. It's Teddy Bridgewater.
Bing, 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 bing.
I was gonna say
Yep.
RG3 for some reason.
No,
Yeah.
when he said injury and became a backup, I was thinking and drafted in like 2014. I was thinking James Winston for some reason. That was like the one that kept in my mind. Like he tore his ACL, then he was a backup.
That was a very good first guess. I'll applaud
When
you
was
for that.
Jameis Winston drafted in 2014?
It was like I think it's actually like 2015 or 2016.
It was 2015. Him and Marcus
2015?
Mariota.
Okay, yeah.
Damn, I don't feel like he's been in the league that long. Huh.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very good guess for Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't expect you to get that, if I'm being honest.
It wasn't even in my head.
All right, so
just-
we will end.
We're just the best
today's-
around here.
We will end today's episode with this last topic, everybody. Way
abysmal.
too early. Way too early. Super Bowl predictions. We'll go ahead and start off with Stash over here with his way too early NFL Super Bowl prediction.
My Super Bowl predictions for this season is this is what we're tomorrow's week 1. We're starting week 1, so
Yep.
you guys are ready. I'm going 49ers on the NFC.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
Not a
I-
terrible pick.
And I'm going to actually take the Bengals on the
Ooh.
AFC.
Okay. Okay.
I think that will be your matchup, and I have the NFC winning. I think Burrow will go
The
again, but
Niners.
I do not think he gets the ring this year.
Mm. Interesting. I like it. Joe Burrow getting a little upset. 2 Super Bowl losses. So, what's your thoughts on it, Spencer? Who do you have for your Super Bowl matchup?
So honestly, I could see the NFL scriptwriters cooking up the KC and Eagles matchup again.
Or KC 49ers rematch.
Okay, yeah, true. Either way, KC seems to be getting in there, huh?
I just think the Niners are just so strong.
Yeah, they're a decent team. Like McCaffrey gonna have a whole offseason to actually
Mhm.
play with the team, and they'll be a lot better than last year, I think.
They're
Bosa's
limit
finally getting paid. Purdy won't be hurt.
Yeah.
they're
He
limiting
could
his
play good
snaps
last
too.
year.
They're going to only
Yeah.
with McCaffrey, they're limiting his snaps so that he's not a workhorse, so that he stays healthy all year.
And like we said earlier, being injury free is the biggest thing in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's the
But I
truth.
think the Jets look good too. I think they have a chance to be in there. But I think it's honestly really similar to me to Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers back in the day. It's really similar situation.
Jacksonville Jaguars and the Super Bowl this year. Reasoning, hear me out. Dak Prescott, a lot of his interceptions was based off of fingertip, miss incompletions off the receiver's hands they should have caught, tipped balls at the line of scrimmage. I think that Dak Prescott has a redemption year. They got Brandon Cooks. He has 1,000 yards every year, regardless of any quarterback he has. I mean, that man's a consistent
That's true.
player. They lost Dalton Schultz and Ezekiel Elliott, but they've got Tony Pollard and Deuce Vaughn, so I don't think they'll be lacking in the running back room. The defensive side of the ball, they got some players. So, I mean, they got Micah Parsons coming back, of course, and they got Stephon Gilmore alongside of Trayvon Diggs. I think he's slightly a bit overrated, but yet nonetheless, he still gets interceptions. That defense is going to be, I think, top 10 this year, and ultimately it's gonna come down to coaching. If McCarthy can lead that team, I think that they'll have immediate playoff success. But I think Dak is going to have a really good year, and CeeDee's going to have an even better year than he did last year. I think he'll be a top 6 or 7 receiver after this season. But that's my pick. I think I got Dallas over the Jaguars in the Super Bowl. So
I don't think Dak Prescott versus Trevor Lawrence is not on my bingo card next year.
Nope.
So we'll
Not
see.
at all. We'll see.
I
Oh,
think the
man.
Cowboys always look good in the offseason. Like every single year, the Cowboys fans obviously are hyping it up, just like the Browns offseason champs.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't believe the Cowboys have put it all together. It seems like every year they look good, but then they just blow games. And
I will say this: if the Cowboys don't win it this season, they won't win it for the next 6 or 7 years or longer. I think this is the team. This is the year. If any year, it'll be this year. I think if they lose, if they don't make it past the first round of the playoffs this year, they start blowing up players. Like they start dismantling the team because they've got extreme high expectations, and they've got to deliver this year. And I've got them delivering finally. But I don't know. I think it'll
Jerry
be.
Jones wants to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's going to be his decision in Jerry World. So,
I mean, that dude's crazy. So who knows what's gonna happen?
do you, do you think? Yeah, honestly, do you think they bring back Elliott at all? Zeke, do you think they'll bring him back at the end of the next year?
I don't know. It depends on how he performs in New England, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
With their we were talked about before the podcast, I think, with fantasy, or no, it was during the podcast. Ramon Stevenson with the Patriots, how I had him in fantasy with his illness. I think if he doesn't play this Sunday and Ezekiel gets most of the carries and actually performs really well, he could get a lot more carries throughout the season, and I think he might be a good running back. I don't know. It depends on how he plays, and I think he has a real good chance of being. I think he has a real good chance of being a good running back in New England.
And for Dallas, they've got a tough division they play in this year against the Giants twice a year, Commanders twice a year, Eagles twice a year. But I think this is the year they finally overcome the obstacles and make a deep playoff push. I
I feel
think,
like Dak just hasn't been the same since that injury, though.
yeah, the ankle injury, I would agree with that. He's got a lot on his shoulders to perform, and he's yet to meet expectations. Um, but I think this is be the season that he does. And if he doesn't, they could possibly move on from him. So he's got extreme pressure to perform with a chip on his shoulder. I think that the Cowboys fans should be a little nervous, and rightfully so, because they've not delivered since the '90s.
Yeah, I
So,
honestly I like Dak a lot.
mhm,
It's just like every other team, though. You got to perform when it counts, and we'll have to see how they perform in the
mhm.
playoffs
And
if they
like you
get
were
there.
saying earlier for the AFC about the Cleveland Browns, I feel like they're the most overhyped team in the NFL. I
Every
think
offseason, man.
every
You can see
single
Twitter
offseason
notifications.
they seem like this team's going to make a push. They're continually getting better. They're getting these players. I think Miles Garrett has a chance at winning Defensive Player of the Year, but I don't think it equates to a playoff berth. I think they
I
win.
mean, that division is insane. The AFC
It
North.
is.
I think it's the best division in football.
I agree. So I think the Browns will win like 6, 7 games max.
Really,
Um,
that low? I mean, I don't like the Browns, but I don't think they'll go that low.
I mean, I think they'll win 7 games this year. Yeah, I don't think they'll win any more than that because they've got such a tough conference and their schedule is pretty rough. So they could shock me and win 8 or 9 games, but 9 games would be like the ceiling, absolute ceiling for that team. I think they win 7 games this year.
Do you think Deshaun's gonna be better than last year?
Oh yeah, he'll be a lot better than last year. I just think that defense is suspect behind Denzel Ward and Miles Garrett. They don't really have any proven players besides them two. Um, So I think the defense gets taken advantage of in some games. The offense will keep them in some with Nick Chubb and Deshaun with Amari Cooper. That's a pretty good big three. Um,
On
but
paper, their team is phenomenal, but I don't know.
yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But going back to Dallas, I think that they've got a good shot to prove a lot of people wrong this year finally. And if they don't make the Super Bowl, I will come back and make a video apologizing to the people.
Hey,
But
Better.
Dak
You're
got
going
that new
to.
tattoo, though. Maybe
I'll
the
be real with
tattoo will
you.
give him some strength.
Yeah, you
yeah.
might have to get a tattoo of like a Dallas Cowboy star, like, and just have it for the rest of your life to
I'm telling you, I'm
apologize.
feeling something in my veins. I don't know what it is. I may have got bit by a spider turning into, Spider-Man over here, but
You got some weird list tonight, man.
Some
weird
weird
list. What do
list.
you mean? My route running ones was very valid. People in the comments, you gotta support me.
I mean, I don't disagree with it. It's just a little out of left field. Didn't
Yeah,
expect it.
I almost
yeah.
put Jalen Waddle on mine, to be honest with you.
Holy.
Hey, so Amari Cooper definitely should be up there. I mean, Calvin Ridley's borderline top five. I mean, Stephon Diggs is for sure up there. Jerry Jeudy, I mean, he's not a top 10 receiver yet, but he's a great route runner. So that's going back to our,
I find if you're a top 5 route runner, I feel like you have to be a top 10 receiver. You're gonna be open all the
What
time if
about
you're
Keenan
a
Allen
runner.
though? I mean, Keenan Allen was a great route runner a couple seasons ago, but he was not like a top receiver in the league. I mean, he was like 12 to 15 probably, but he wasn't like a top eight or so guy.
I would have put him top 10, I think.
I
Really?
think I think Keenan Allen's overrated personally. I'll be real with you.
I mean, I could see that. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of Chargers games, but everything I've seen a good bit of him. I think I would have put him in top 10 a few years ago for sure.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he was healthy, maybe.
He's getting older though. How old is he now?
He's like 32, I think, something
Okay,
like that.
a little younger than I thought. I thought he was like 34, 35.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, Justin Herbert's got the pressure on him too because he's yet to take them where they need to go in the AFC. I mean, it's been a hard conference to get far with, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the AFC battle in general in the conference to see who prevails and who misses the play. Do you think the Dolphins make the playoffs this year?
It all depends on Tua if he can not bang his head so much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's facts. Be throwing up crip signs, but no, I'm just gonna.
One
But
thing that's weird though is Kenny Pickett had 2 concussions last year, and I don't hear anybody ever talking about that. And
mm,
Tua had 2, So it's a little concerning, but
I
I'm pretty
believe,
sure if you get one concussion, you're more likely to get another, right? I'm no
yeah,
doctor, but
I believe that the team doctors and athletic trainers got to do a better job at recognizing those injuries and those signs of those players at an early.
have been paid off, man.
Yeah, but yeah, the players I feel like are just pushing the agenda. They want to play, and it's like
Uh,
at what cost? Because they're CTE, of course. Antonio Brown is a prime example of living CTE. Sorry for that, but yeah, I
makes
don't
me
know.
sad, man.
Hey, he played for both our teams too, man.
Yeah, true. I guess he didn't take his shirt out and walk out on us.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Oh man, but had a lot of great conversations today, everyone. I've enjoyed the topics. Let us know down below what you think has been good or bad or ugly. So we've enjoyed the special guest today of Spencer. Thank you for joining in.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. We'll go ahead and log off with this episode. It is your boy, JT, and
The stash, baby.
have a
Spence.
good one, everybody. See you.
Whoop.
Peace.